Hey, what's up everyone? This is Diego with Listenersnotes. Today we're going to be talking about the new album from Milo titled Who Told You to Think. Milo is an abstract rapper who's kind of been a love at first listen for me, at least. I just really enjoy his style, his wordiness, his vocabulary, his flow, his quirky aspects, because a lot of his references are very funny, they're very dorky, and then of course he's always trying to say something. He was on my most anticipated albums of the year list because I just wanted to hear a new project from him soon. It had been a couple years since his 2015 album, So the Flies Don't Come, and I was just anticipating more. I just wanted more. And that album, So the Flies Don't Come, had some really nice jazzy instrumentals, as well as some actually more aggressive rapping from Milo. It was a change of pace for him. He definitely had more fire when he spit, and it made his sound way more accessible, in my opinion. Now, I didn't mind his abstract sound, but I noticed that when he brought that fire and the instrumental also brought some intensity as well, there was actually a level of viscera to his music that I really enjoy because I am a fan of punchier music. And this new album here is where Milo takes that aggression and that accessibility even further. And to be honest, I really like the direction he's taking his music. He's managed to be even more direct, even more accessible, but he isn't losing his personality, his wordiness, his cleverness, or his charm, honestly. And I think that's something that's super clear in the instrumentals here. While for the most part they maintain the jazzy charm of Milo's past work, they also add more bass, and even the song Sorcerer has sort of a trap style instrumental with rattling hi-hats and just booming bass. Lyrically though, I took this song as Milo just enjoying what he does and sort of justifying it. Like, he mentions rappers who are out selling crack and people telling him he should be a stockbroker, but he's just like, fuck that to both of those. And he repeats the line, "I flourish in the lag time," multiple times, which I guess could be like downtime, or maybe he's saying that's how it feels when he writes, like he's in the lag time. And I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. Milo's lyrics can be super obtuse with some pretty unique references, which of course I enjoy all of that, but it is tough to grasp the meaning of a track, even though it is fun to pick apart lines and to discover certain meanings. A lot of my entertainment with this album is picking apart Milo's lyrics. And on Sorcerer, and for the most part with this album, I do like Milo's delivery, and I love his overall rap style. Just purely off the sound of his delivery and his flow, Milo is probably my favorite underground hip-hop artist. Going back to the beats here, I really like the layers of piano over the boom-bap beat of the song Call It Form. The song Magician has a nice fast-paced drum beat, which has a really nice laid chill-back vibe with the hazy keys and nice bass line. I also like the jazzy samples that inflect out on that song. The song Rapper has some syrupy smooth horns over a very dark sounding boom bap beat. Landscaping has some nice piano inflections, and I really like Milo and Elucid over this beat. The song The Young Man has a really nice bass line with some sunny horns, and when Milo enters that track, some hi-hats enter the mix. And the song Note to Misses is a very interesting track. The beat is super airy and ethereal, and everything about this song is subtle. The percussion reminds me of the sound of someone putting coins into like a vending machine or something, and there's these drony melodies over the top of that. And Milo himself is also more reserved on that song. On the song Landscaping, I love Milo's reference to Courage the Cowardly Dog. I thought it was pretty funny, and he also mentioned propaganda and facts just being skewed on that song. On the song Paging Mr. Bill Nunn, I found it interesting when Milo said that boredom was a blessing and life was a chore. And again, with this song, Milo does come through with some interesting lines that hint at a political message, but I'm still not sure of their meaning yet. I'm going to need some more listens there. The song Ornette's Swan Song has a pretty decent feature from Self Jupiter, and Milo has some really dope lines in his verse. At one point he says, "In America, all zebras are in zoos, and that's normal and fine. It'll never make the news. your captivity will never make the news, which is a super dope line. I took this line as Milo calling out racism in the police system, and also a comment on police brutality and arrest. And the closer here has a dope verse from Bus Driver, who is another great alternative hip-hop artist. I just love the flute and horn sample and the grimy bass bursts are on this song. It's such an awesome beat. And Milo is talking about racism. He has an interesting line calling Blade Runner that world ideal, and afterwards he repeats "and the Pokemon Go." And I wonder if he's saying that people are able to ignore social issues and police brutality and racism just because they're being distracted by games and trends and fads and all this filler. Alright, I know I listed off a ton of things, but those are all things I liked about this album. With that being said, I do have a few things I don't care for with this album. I'm not really a fan of the verse from Young Man on the song "The Young Man Has a Point." Honestly, the verse was just an afterthought for me content-wise, and there's something about the delivery and flow that really rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe after more listens it'll grow on me, but at the moment, like, the verse sounds like some epic rap battles of history type of joke. Again, maybe I'm just not getting it, maybe I need more time. I do think Milo handles these shorter tracks pretty well, which I was concerned about. Even if they don't have much of a structure, sometimes the production and what's said is just satisfying enough. I have to talk about the song IDK. On initial listen, I didn't really get what he was trying to say, and I found it really repetitive and monotonous and boring. But you know, after I did some research, Milo actually explained it on Genius, I think. The song is actually about a bad experience with the police that Milo had, and lyrically, he's acknowledging that, you know, he has no identity and he's just a stereotype that was seen on that day. He's essentially saying he doesn't need to explain who he is to do what he wants to do, because in the story that he tells, he was stopped as a kid for just walking home with lunch. I do think the song Note to Mrs. is a slightly underwhelming track, but again, it's a personal song about love, so I can understand its placement. It just doesn't blow me away. Also, if we're continuing with nitpicks, some words at the end of verses have this effect where they get just repeated. Like, it's not like a record scratch, but I guess it's like that, and it's kind of annoying. It happens throughout this album. It's not one song, it's actually a lot of the songs, but it's just a minor nitpick. I wouldn't say it ruins any song at all. It's just something that bothers me every once in a while. And I will say there are probably a few songs in the track listing that pale in comparison to the highlights on this album. But yeah, that's the album. It's a tough one to review, but I'm really enjoying it. Putting everything together, 83 out of 100 for me. Of course, as always, maybe after more listens, I'll grow on this album more and it'll climb my favorite album list. This is just how I feel about it right now. Alright everyone, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this album in the comments below. If you're a hip-hop fan and you care about lyrics, and you gotta hear this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.